Johnny got a toy golf set when he was 3, and from that day on, he was hooked. All he wanted to do was golf, golf, golf. He'd be on the links before school, after school. All he ever wanted was to go pro. And then, one day, when he was holding his grandson and thinking about his 12 handicap, Johnny realized it just might not happen for him. But you know what did happen for him? He switched to Geico and saved a bunch of money on car insurance. So that was good, and so was hanging out with his grandson.
Geico presents Yikes! Another voicemail from your roommate.
Sup, roomie? Hey, a pipe burst in the basement. It's completely flooded. Anyway, I called for someone to fix it, but in the meantime, I was thinking we could finally have that indoor pool party we've always wanted. I got some cool swan floaty things already going. Could you pick up some chips on your way home? Later.
The Geico Insurance Agency could help keep your personal property protected, like if your roommate isn't the brightest pool float in the flooded basement. Visit geico.com to see how easy it is to switch and save on renter's insurance.
Hello, everybody, and welcome again to Nerd of the Third Power, your one-stop shop for all things nerdy and awesome. I'm your host, Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Gonzo, and with me this week is Skyblaze. And Skyblaze, you look like you're still recovering from the post E3 burnout.
Yeah, after E3 week, my shoulders decided after all those hours, they just went, no, screw you, we are going to stop working because we hate you. So, yeah, that was fun.
Your body decided to clock out and cash in some of that PTO, huh?
I guess so. Thanks, body. That's really helpful. I have games to play, you bitch.
In case you haven't guessed, this week is our annual E3 Blowout. E3 was last week, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of great stuff to talk about, and definitely a lot of stuff to unpack. Now that the party is over and the hotel room has been destroyed, we've all checked out and gone our separate ways to get tested at the clinic.
Speak for yourself, dude.
Or at least that's my post-E3 routine. I don't know about you.
I am a happily married person, I will have you know.
Okay, you're going in a different direction than I was, but alright, okay. Let's just say Baltimore Vice is very interested in talking to me at the moment.
Well.
So, but yeah, there's definitely a lot to unpack this year, so we're just going to just jump right into it and start talking about E3 in general. And I'm going to go ahead and start by saying that this definitely felt like a very unbalanced year for me as far as presentation goes. There was what was great was really great and got me really excited, and then there was the stuff just completely had me bored to tears at points. This just felt like a very unbalanced show. What did you think of it overall?
It was, yeah, on some of the days it was really hard to find anything that was actually of any interest, which is not usual for an E3. Usually there's like stuff coming in all the time, and some days it was like all of the things, and other days, speaking from a work perspective, and other days it was like anything, hello, because stuff was being announced, but it's like whether or not anyone cares.
Besides the one guy at the conference who got paid to scream at every little thing, but we'll get to him in a moment.
Yeah, it was weird because it felt a little lackluster overall, I thought.
Do you think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Sony wasn't present at this year's E3? Because I noticed that this definitely felt like a less cohesive year than last year, when you had everything kind of grouped together on the various console manufacturers. Now everyone was just kind of doing their own thing. And do you think maybe that might have contributed to the disjointed feel of things?
It could have done. It also might be that E3 as a whole might be in decline. I mean, it's shown signs of that for the past couple of years, but this is definitely signs that it's not the kind of... Well, it's beginning to be not the must-see event that it used to be.
Yeah, there is something to say that, especially since Nintendo has basically for the last few years kind of foregone E3 to just do their online directs. Like they've had booths and demos at the show floor, but they haven't had like a big stage show like any of the other publishers. And I've been hearing rumblings that Sony is thinking about going the same way.
It sounds like that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
So.
And it makes sense because if you just think about how much those big press conferences must cost in relation to setting up a live stream where you can just have your own studio or office or whatever it is and stream from there. So financially that makes sense, and especially with the Nintendo Directs, because they've kind of got their own sense of cachet now. So there's a guaranteed audience. So Sony could do a lot worse than follow that example.
And then there's also the fact that, we are the YouTube generation. So, I got to see all of the conferences this year, but I watched them on YouTube. I didn't actually go to the show. So there's kind of an argument to be made of, why not just cut out the middleman, which I think you're right. I think that's the direction Sony is going. We may actually see Microsoft going that way too. So, let's start breaking down the conference down. Talk about what excited us and what we didn't like. So, where would you like to start, Skyblaze? You get first pick.
I had to sit through the Ubisoft conference.
Oh God, I am so sorry.
Yeah, about halfway through, I was like, "Someone pass me a knife. I am going to stab myself."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Ubisoft's conference was just a disaster this year. It
was so boring. I mean, I sat through some boring press conferences in my time. Hello, Samsung Unpacked. But holy shit, it was dull.
And does the Tom Clancy estate have like a stake or something in Ubisoft? Because I could count on one hand the number of things this year from the Ubisoft conference that weren't something Tom Clancy.
Was it Watch Dogs?
There was Watch Dogs. There was Just Dance. And then, I don't know.
I'd forgotten about Just Dance entirely. I think I'd fallen asleep by then.
Yeah, the whole Ubisoft conference was just fucking strange. So, okay, first off, for those of you who didn't see it, the very first thing, right off the gate, it got weird because the first thing it opened up on was an orchestra and a clip show of clips from the various Assassin's Creed games. I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. And the very first announcement they made was for a music tour. Which, okay, yeah, we're both big, fans of video game music, and we're always happy to see them getting, live orchestra shows, but, we're not here for a concert tour.
Yeah, that's not the sort of thing you would necessarily announce at E3, and if it is, it's not what you put right at the front of your conference. That's the thing you put at the back, kind of saying, oh, by the way, we also have this.
And then it got even weirder later on where they announced a fucking television series, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what the hell was going on with that?
Like,
did you forget what people were here for?
And it's not even like they didn't already have a full plate of stuff, because like I've already said, they had like 100 different Tom Clancy games. God, I think they must have spent like a half hour on Rainbow Six Siege alone.
And I give not the tiniest of shits about any of the Tom Clancy named games. Yeah. And they all just blurred one into the other after a while. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, and then they launched into the Just Dance musical number, which at that point,
cringe.
Yeah, at that point, I had to turn to my shift mate and be like, "Dude, did you fucking put something in my soda? What the fuck am I looking at here?" But now we've spent a few minutes tearing down Ubisoft. So at this point, I have to be fair and give credit where credit is due. That Watch Dogs Legions trailer had me hook, line, and sinker. That was, as soon as that was done, I immediately went to Steam to see if I could put it in pre-order, because that game looks awesome.
Taser Granny!
Yes, the grandma with the face-raping, face-hugger robot. I absolutely love that. I was like, I would just main that character. Like, I would play through the whole game just as that granny, and I would save Scum so that if she died, I'd reload the previous stage and find a way to get her past whatever obstacle it was. It's like, you're not supposed to go through the blockade with the granny. I will find a way. Gammy Num Nums is a Vietnam vet, and she still got her shit straight. But I absolutely loved the way that they're going with Watch Dogs Legions, where instead of following just one character, you're basically controlling like you can basically mind hack anybody in the game and turn them into a playable character.
It's going to be interesting to see how they handle that in terms of storyline, because that has to create problems in terms of narrative.
Oh,
surely.
You know the scriptwriter is hating life right now.
Oh yeah.
Like
it does sound pretty interesting, but yeah, I do feel sorry for whoever the scriptwriter ends up being.
Yeah, like just the script writing and the voice acting bill must be astronomical. Unless they're going to do, I didn't hear them say anything either way, but did they say whether or not they were going to be repeating voices? I mean, sure they'd have to be with as many NPCs
I would have thought
they
would have to, yeah.
Yeah, but just outside of Watch Dogs, just the whole Ubisoft conference was just an absolute mess. And again, I hate to keep harping on the Tom Clancy thing, but it's like you said, every single one of those just seemed to kind of bleed together. And I'm a big shooter fan, but I'm starting to feel kind of shooter fatigue with all these games. I mean, okay, yeah, the Division's fun to play, but I mean, it's like it doesn't need fucking 30 minutes of the presentation. At least that's what it felt like. I'll tell you another conference that I was really disappointed in, and that was Bethesda's. Did you see that?
Yeah, I didn't see all of it, but I saw some highlights on somebody's YouTube. Well, I say highlights. Yeah. I can't believe people were applauding for the absolute bare minimum.
Like, I don't think they showed gameplay footage for a non-mobile game at a single point through the entire show. And they're coming out and they're showing these these cutscene trailers, basically, which all look like just recuts of the same, the old One They Fear trailer for Skyrim from fucking 8 years ago. God, has it really been that long? And like, it just, like, I maybe it's just the fact that I'm getting older, but like, I'm getting kind of tired of seeing trailers that don't have gameplay footage. There were some stuff that they talked about that I did really enjoy, like the Doom Eternal trailer. Oh my god, that was like, that was like a shot to the spine. I am so stoked for Doom Eternal, and I can't wait for that to come out. We're gonna actually get to go to heaven and start slapping around some angels. We've never done that in a Doom game before. I'm gonna shove a shotgun in Gabriel's face and blow his perfect face off. But and in a way that kind of highlights sort of the problem with the Bethesda conference is Doom Eternal is a game they announced last year.
Yeah, it's also, somebody pointed out that, it's been pointed out by a few people, that the stuff that people were actually really into during the Bethesda conference is not stuff that they're developing, it's stuff they're just stuff they're publishing.
Yeah, like the other one was, I think Wolfenstein Youngblood was the other one that they showed gameplay footage for. Like, where's Elder Scrolls 6? We got literally just a teaser for it last year, and then we've had no word from it since. And then where's that space RPG that they said they were working on? We've got absolutely no word on any of this. Everything else is just either mobile games, which I don't give a damn about, or it's announcements for expansion to Skyrim Online, which, okay, fair enough. People enjoy that.
Fucking Fallout 76, which they're still trying to flog, despite the fact that it's been a massive flog.
Oh my god. My brain shut down
Accept that horse is dead, and move on. Turn it into glue, and, find something else.
My brain shut down as a defense mechanism when they announced that they were adding NPCs to the game. I'm just sitting here and looking at this. We're adding human NPCs in the Battle Royale mode. And I'm like, oh, well, that's great. As long as we're adding in shit that should have been in the game from the start, are the pre-order crowd going to get their duffel bags now?
Apparently some of them have. Those have actually started arriving, allegedly.
But it's like that, and the other one that really sent me up the wall was Commander Keen.
Oh god.
Yeah, that just
that was not Commander Keen.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And then this is kind of a random a bit of a random thing to talk about in the Bethesda conference, but those It Gets Better style PSAs that they sprinkled throughout their presentation. Am I the only one who thought those were cringe as hell?
I could see what they were trying to do, but the way that they were kind of organized and added in was really weird. It's like, if you're doing a press conference, you're trying to build momentum and enthusiasm for your product, And bringing everything to a screeching halt with one of these is a really weird decision. So every time things start to get hyped up, it just kind of like, no, we're stopping it dead to have this like weird PSA. Okay.
Yeah, this is me being a cynical bastard. So just me being me. But I can't help but feel like, given that, and this is as political as we're going to get on this show, that because June is Pride Month, they put those PSAs in there to try and capitalize on that. And I'm just kind of like, this is really kind of skeevy, and I'm not really sure how I feel about this.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about like companies rainbow washing themselves and giving lip service to the idea of LGBT rights and not actually, talking the talk but not walking the walk.
Yeah, but it's like, I'm watching these PSAs in the middle of a game conference. I'm like, this doesn't make me want to buy a video game. This makes me want to dye my hair purple and start a Tumblr. So yeah, no, not a good look, Bethesda. Not a good look at all. And can we talk for a second about that fucker in the audience who screamed like every goddamn fucking 30 seconds?
I've been told by some friends who were actually there that the people who went to the Bethesda conference were invited guests. They weren't just people who were going to E3, and there was a free bar before it started.
Oh, that answers so many questions.
I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but that's what I was told. So yeah, that explains quite a bit.
But again, we got to be fair here. We got to talk about things that were done right. And can I just say that Misakumi Nakamura coming out to talk about the new game that she's working on, she was a bubbly hug on legs, and I absolutely loved every moment that she was on stage. Like that's how you drum up excitement for a game, is you actually come out and you be excited about it. And the game that she was hyping up was Ghostwire Tokyo, which is looking like a horror style game. But like, it was just so refreshing to, after all these people just coming up and basically reading off cue cards, to basically see Miss Nakamura come out and just be like, "Hey everybody, how's it going? We having fun? Yes."
Technology Truths, brought to you by Geico.
Technology Truths.
Truth. Teenagers can communicate entirely in emojis.
How was the birthday party? Pizza slice, kitten, soccer ball, pineapple?
Truth. It's so easy to switch and save on car insurance at Geico.com.
What are you talking about? Paperclip, shoulder shrug, high five, wizard hat? What?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Geico presents yet another voicemail from your roommate.
Hi! So, about the kitchen. Turns out when there's a grease fire, you're not supposed to throw water on it. Who would have known, right? Anyways, the fire department is here and it's totally cool. Give me a call back when you get a chance.
The Geico Insurance Agency could help keep your personal property protected, like if danger is your roommate's middle name. Visit geico.com to see how easy it is to switch and save on renter's insurance.
It's nice when people are genuine like that. I mean, a lot of E3 has become so corporate and distanced from the kind of reality of making and enjoying games that there's very little that's real in there. So somebody actually expressing genuine enthusiasm feels like a breath of fresh air because there's so little of it. People are just there to, we're here to sell you shit and we don't care.
Yeah, but then they brought her out, and she was like I said, she was just a bubbly hug on legs. And then when I found out that she was the one who created Okami and Bayonetta, I was like, I'm going to buy whatever it is that you are about to talk about if you're working on it, because I know that you produce things I like, and I want more of that. But yeah, I mean, so much.
Which one was the one that had the dog randomly on stage?
I believe that was part of the Square Enix conference, and that was weird as hell as well.
Yep, but dog.
Yeah.
Doggo! That's all I remember from that conference. Doggo!
And I guess that brings us to the Square Enix conference, which that was where things really started to go on the uptick for me this E3, particularly with their long reveal and breakdown of the Final Fantasy VII remake. And can I say, that is how you do a game reveal.
Yep.
is you actually show gameplay footage. They didn't just show us gameplay footage; they actually broke down how the game is going to work.
Yeah, it looks like it's using the same engine as Final Fantasy 15, which makes a lot of sense. And it looks good, and it seems to actually play pretty well, and so play a lot like 15, which I can live with because 15 was fine. So yeah, I'm a lot more confident about how it will turn out now than I was before E3.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the FF7 remake. And but can I say that like when they finally put up the release date, I kind of took it as a dare. It's like, all right, I'll call your bluff, pre-order. Yeah, no, I'm still even though we got to see a lot of it, I'm still very doubting Thomas about the whole Final Fantasy VII remake. Like I can until I have the disc in my hand, I shall not believe that it is being published. Now, one thing that I have seen people kind of rumbling again about in regards to the FF7 remake is the fact that it's going to be kind of episodic. It's not going to be the full game on one disc. Which, I mean, I can understand, I can see it, because, I mean, back in the day, Final Fantasy VII was a huge game even for its time, and to try and remake that whole thing with modern graphics and modern mechanics, I mean, that's a tall order. There's pretty much no way that Square Enix would be able to put all that out in one go and not either miss a console generation or lose huge amounts of money on it.
Well, you say that, but then they've spent how long on the damn thing already? I mean, I grant you they've had to restart from scratch at least once. Because I'm pretty sure that when they first started on the thing, they were trying to use that bloody Crystal Tools engine that was a complete disaster. So when they realised that didn't work, they probably had to start again completely from base code. But it's been a very long time that they've been working on this, and the fact that they're then saying it's going to be in several pieces and you'll have to pay full whack for each piece feels a bit scummy.
Yeah, that full price for each episode, that does feel, yeah, I'm with you on that. That is a beating. And one thing that I'm kind of wondering about how they're going to do is, are they going to do a thing where you can transfer saves from one episode to the next, or are you going to have to start from scratch every episode?
They're going to have to do a save transfer or some sort of transfer bonus. It would be completely bizarre and illogical for them not to do that.
Well, then now we've got to ask the question: is this all going to be on the PlayStation 4? Because we do have the next console generation starting up in the next couple years.
From what I recall, they said they were going to look at potentially porting it to the PS5, but at the moment it's going to be for the PS4.
Okay, all right.
At least as far as I understand.
Well, we'll see what happens there. Another thing they announced, Kingdom Hearts DLC, which I almost had a conniption when they first started that trailer, because I thought they were announcing a final mix version of the game. And I was like...
then it'd be like, oh, well, the rest of the world will get that in about 15 years then.
Yeah, I think the post I made on Facebook is, if you're about to announce a final mix plus a final mix version, not even 6 months after the game's been out, I'm going to shit out my spinal column. And then it turned out to be DLC. And then turned out to be DLC, and I was like, "Oh, good! I get to remain a vertebrate."
I don't have to prop you up with a pole or anything.
Yeah, I don't. I'm no longer. I don't get to be a human earthworm. But now I still haven't finished Kingdom Hearts 3. But so as someone who's probably played it backwards and forwards, what are your thoughts on the upcoming DLC? Because I know you have. Don't lie.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Because DLC is such a weird choice for Kingdom Hearts. Because the story as it is kind of... It's either you start a new story or you retcon some old stuff, and I don't know what they're going to do, and that frustrates me. So I don't know how I feel about it. I am undecided.
So...
I'm probably going to buy it because I'm a complete sucker, but you know.
Okay, all right, but and then there are other things in the in the Square Enix conference that had me kind of excited. Like, and this is something that was also brought up in the Nintendo Direct, but Dragon Quest XI coming to Switch. I'm finally going to get into a Dragon Quest game. Dragon Quest Builders, not enthusiastic about though.
Meh. It's Minecraft with the Dragon Quest skin, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. And then I was also really happy that we're getting a remastered Final Fantasy VIII, because I'm probably one of the 6 people on this earth who unabashedly likes Final Fantasy VIII. So it's great to see that that's getting some love. Although I kind of had to raise my eyebrows because I seem to remember hearing something a while back that they'd actually lost the source code to Final Fantasy VIII.
They lost quite a bit of it, so I don't know if they found it down the back of a cupboard somewhere, or if they found another, or sort of some developer somewhere dug out an old PC and went, "Hey guys, I found it." I don't know, but yeah, I heard the same thing. So
yeah, so now we got the whole set, and then the mana collection.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, that's another one that I'm actually really stoked about, because I remember loving Secret of Mana on the Super Nintendo way back in the day, and I'm really looking forward to playing that again. Although I'm kind of a little disappointed that Secret of Evermore isn't included in that collection. I'm not gonna lie. But
that's not part of the main series, though, is it? It's a side one.
Yeah, but it was made using literally the exact same engine. They slapped it together and like Secret of Mana came out, but it was it was kind of Squaresoft's answer to Earthbound.
Yeah.
But it was a charming little game, and I'm kind of disappointed that it doesn't get more love. But I'm definitely picking up the Mana collection, and I might actually pick up the new one. I think it's Trials of Mana, which I think that's actually a remaster of an older one that's in the collection, isn't it?
I would have to double check. So I have been on strong painkillers all this week. My brain is fudge.
No worries. So, is there anything else in the Square Enix conference that you really enjoyed seeing? Or anything that you think needs to go into a bin?
Well, the Square Enix conference was one of those where it's like, it was fine. There was nothing hugely like, oh my god, that's amazing. But it was like, there was nothing hugely incompetent either. It was okay. It was
kind of those things where you knew what was coming.
Yeah, so, pretty much.
Although I do want to give a shout out to the guy who, after the Final Fantasy VII release splash was shown off, he shouted from the crowd, "Take my wallet and everything in it." I love that guy. Made me laugh. I love his enthusiasm. All right, so that's Square Enix. So now let's move on to Microsoft. And if there's one thing you can say about Microsoft, they knew what they were there for. It's just too bad that it turned me off on just about everything they were doing. Microsoft Xbox Game Pass for PC. I mean, you may as well just tell me now that there's no reason for me to have an Xbox One anymore, because I can get so many of these games on PC.
You know how I feel about Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
I am not a fan, for those who aren't aware. I have never owned an Xbox. I never will own an Xbox. I do have a Windows PC, but only because I don't have to pay for a license for Windows. They got it right in terms of presentation. In terms of like, the people who were into that sort of stuff were really into it. But yeah, it felt more like a PC conference than an Xbox conference, despite the fact that they were using a lot of the Xbox. What's
branding.
The word? Yeah, branding.
Yeah. So they basically announced this new subscription service where you can play Xbox One games on your PC. It's something that they've had for a while, actually, with their cross-play thing, but I guess now they're going to start going a little harder on it. And it's just, I don't know. I'm starting to think that Microsoft might actually be getting out of trying to ease their way out of the console business. Because they've just really dropped the ball with the Xbox One, as far as I can see. They haven't done really a whole lot to make it distinct from its competition, or give people a reason to actually buy into it instead of just buying a PC. I also found it weird that they kept on saying, whenever they brought up the Game Pass, they said that the game was going to be this game was going to be available on day one, and I'm just like, well, I should hope so. That's the release date. You can't really tell me it's going to be released on the 20th. I was like, oh no, you can't play it until the 25th.
Yeah, companies do that all the time.
Yeah.
What the thing about Microsoft that's always kind of puzzled me is that they're kind of in competition with themselves in some ways. Because Microsoft have kind of cornered the PC market in terms of operating system, but they've also released the Xbox, which is a gaming platform.
Yeah, and they haven't really done a lot to separate those two markets.
Mm.
And the thing is okay, yeah, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 Pro, they're both enthusiast consoles, but console market by its very nature is entry level compared to the PC market. And it's like they're trying to market to both, but they're not really giving, I don't know, they're not really giving anyone a reason to really care about the Xbox One this generation. Because like, okay, here's all these games that are out on the system, but you can also get them on PC and have a much more, customizable experience with it. Because
I have to wonder if they've just kind of given up on the Xbox One and are just going, screw it, we're just going to concentrate on the Scarlet.
That may be, because they did announce their new console. It was vague and uncommittal, as all initial console announcements are. So lots of heady promises that I need to see some gameplay for. Speaking of which, I want to give props to Microsoft. At least half of their game reveals this conference showed actual gameplay footage. So
yeah, that was good.
Want to give a shout out for that. And a couple things that they talked about that I was actually super excited for. Cyberpunk 2077. This is the E3 that they finally got me to care about the upcoming Cyberpunk game. So I've got that in pre-order. I loved what I saw in that trailer. And I'm definitely gonna be picking that up. So congratulations, you finally got me interested in Cyberpunk.
And how good was Keanu Reeves as a presenter for that?
You know what? I feel like that he and Miss Nakamura need to be in like kind of an Odd Couple like sitcom. I could just watch those two just bounce off each other all day. He would be just such a charming little program. But yeah, he came out and he was just fun. He was genuine. You could tell he was really having a blast being there.
Yeah, and that was, again, it was nice to see. It felt genuine, and he was really personable and chill, and that was nice. So that was great, and he fits in well with the game. Yeah, it doesn't feel forced. It feels quite of a natural progression.
Yeah,
there.
And then the other things that got me excited out of the Microsoft conference were the announcement of the Borderlands 2 DLC that's going to be leading into Borderlands 3, because I'm a huge Borderlands nut. And then Double Fine coming out and finally announcing Psychonauts 2. Oh my god, I've been waiting 15 years for a Psychonauts sequel.
It's been like the worst kept secret in the world that they're working on it. But yeah, the official announcement was quite nice.
Yeah. What about? Well, I mean, you already said you're not a Microsoft fan, but was there anything at all that caught your eye in the Microsoft conference?
I did like the Cyberpunk 2077 trailer. Was really nice. That presentation was really good. It was really well done. I've not decided if I'm going to buy it yet. I probably will, but unless I get given it by work, ha ha ha.
Won't be a day one purchase?
No, it won't be a day one purchase. But I'll if the reviews are good, I'll probably get it.
Yeah. Tell you what, going back to talk about how Microsoft has kind of bungled this console generation. Do you think maybe they've gotten a little bit kind of comfy with their IPs and kind of thinking that maybe that their intellectual properties will sell themselves? Because like the Halo trailer and the Gears of War 5 trailer, like showed us basically absolutely nothing.
I had honestly forgotten that they existed.
Yeah. That Gears trailer especially, with just like the close-up on the woman's face and doing the weird like after image thing. I'm like, now granted I haven't played Gears 4, so maybe there's some context in there that I'm just completely fucking ignorant of. But it's like, this doesn't look like a game trailer. This looks like a Talking Heads music video. So obscure classic rock reference.
I got it.
So
but it's me, so
All right. So I guess before we go on to Nintendo, was there anything else kind of miscellaneous? Oh wait, I know what we have to talk about. We have to talk about the fucking Stadia and what a garbage fire that was.
Oh Jesus, do we really? Because I've had arguments at work about this.
Yeah. So Google Stadia. That's where to begin.
They were saying that it was like 35 meg connection. Were they saying?
Yeah, 35 megabits per second. That you were going to be able to stream a game at 4K resolution, 60 frames per second with HDR quality sound or some bullshit. And I'm like, I've got a 200 megabit per second connection in my house, and I get buffering on YouTube videos that are 240p from 10 years ago.
Unless they have developed the compression algorithm of the gods themselves, there is no effing way. Bearing in mind, guys, that Dr. Gonzo works in a networking sort of environment, and I have a degree in network engineering, there is no way that this is possible with current technology and current internet, networking backbone in the UK and the US. There is just no way. There are too many people on... Unless you are on a dedicated Google Fiber line, this will not work the way that they say it will.
Yeah, and there's like 6 states right now that have Google Fiber. I don't think it's even reached Europe. And they're talking about how this is going to be a worldwide thing. And here's the other thing. Like, okay, let's be generous and say that they're able to keep this 35 megabit per second promise at launch. Here's the thing. With every game you release and every new set of players that you have buying your consoles and buying these games, the demand on that network is going to grow exponentially. There is no way long-term that this is going to be a sustainable business model. And I loved how they kept trotting out the line, oh, when you buy these games on Stadia, these games are yours to play with whenever you wish. And I'm just like, yeah, until you shut off the fucking servers and turn these consoles into bricks. Because you know that's going to happen when Google finally decides to pull out of this.
You only have to look at Google's track record when it comes to shutting services down.
Yeah, the running joke that I have with my circle of friends is when they ask me about Google Stadia, I point to my OnLive console that I have sitting on my bookshelf and go, yeah, we've done this before. It was snake oil then, and it's snake oil now. Like, just there was no part of this of that Stadia presentation that I just wasn't. And Skyblaze will back me up on this. We were actually like kind of shouting at it over Facebook. As I was watching this presentation, like, there's no way that this is going to work. And
but you didn't you? I had just woken up, and you were like, Skyblaze. I was like, yeah. Is this bullshit? And you kind of sent me the thing, and I was like, yeah, it's bullshit.
Because I was like, I've got a CCNA. I have a pretty good idea of how a computer network works, but I just want to make sure my math is correct here. But like, and the thing is, like, you've got so many of the major publishers getting on this. Like, the fucking Avengers game is going to be on Stadia, and I'm like, why? Why would you align yourself to this?
The reason for that is that the major publishers have wanted to kill the second-hand games market for forever. For actual ever. And they have wanted to be able to control distribution this way and hoover up user data in the way that this will be able to since forever. So the publishers are all over this. This is going to be absolutely terrible for consumers, but the publishers are like, oh yes, please.
Well, I tell you what,
that gives them absolute control.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't think the consumers are going to be up for it yet, because like I said, the minute those servers are shut down for the Stadia, those games go bye-bye and it becomes an expensive brick. It's the Xbox One S all digital all over again. There's no fucking point to this thing.
Also like anybody who's worked in an ISP call center knows that the moment that something like Xbox Live or the PlayStation Network goes down, they call the ISP, and there is bugger all that the ISP can do about it 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, and they had no idea who they were trying to sell this thing to. It's like, is this supposed to be an entry-level gaming device, or are you gunning for the enthusiasts? Because you're kind of you're talking again. You're talking about how easy it's going to be to use, but at the same time, you're throwing all this jargon out that your average entry level buyer isn't going to know or give a shit about. So it's because, again, who buys the entry level units? It's casual gamers who just want to tool around with some Need for Speed or some Mario after work, or parents buying something for their kids. And neither of those groups are going to want to do the research to find out if your whole deal is going to work on their home network. They're just going to go buy a PlayStation 4 or a Nintendo Switch. So
it's also
who is this for?
I am yet to meet an American who has not bitched about their internet at some point.
They don't exist.
Yeah, exactly. So knowing that you had to have a 100% reliable internet for this device to work at all.
Again, just for the number of people who are going to be using it, is statistically and technologically impossible.
So I can imagine this thing working in somewhere like South Korea or Japan, where they do have the network infrastructure for it. But in the UK, most of Europe, America, I can't see it happening. I can't see it taking off. I might be wrong, but the way that from what I know about how the network infrastructure in those places functions, I mean, the one in the UK is held together with string and duct tape. So, yeah, no.
It's one last thing, and then we'll move on to other topics. But it's a problem of scaling. It's very difficult to scale a service like this. My shift mate was like, he's talking because I'm watching this at work, because I work weekend nights and have fuck all to do on my shifts. He was like, well, I mean, it's no different than your average MMO, and I'm like, yeah, but your average MMO has its own dedicated servers and is gearing itself towards a relatively small group of people compared to the larger overall internet base. What Stadia is trying to do here is they're basically trying to corral the entire internet, and it's not going to happen. So
yeah, it's also that with an MMO, an awful lot of the information is held client side. So a lot of the calculations and stuff is having to be done client side, and then that packet of information is sent to the server, and information is sent back. What the Stadia is trying to do is that very, very little will be calculated client side, and everything will be done on the server. That means the moment you have any lag whatsoever, it is going to just stop working.
So yeah. The Stadia, just a dumpster fire all around. It just reeked of snake oil. So I think it's fair to say that of all the presentations, Nintendo is probably the one that brought the fire the most. So before we go into that, was there anything from any of the other presentations, Skyblaze, that caught your eye or that you want to talk about or heap scorn upon?
There was a thing that was it was slightly before E3, I think, but I squee. When Sega announced the final games for the Mega Drive Mini, I do not need the Mega Drive Mini. I have an actual Mega Drive, but goddamn if I do not want one. Especially when they announced that they were, you know what the rarest game on the Mega Drive is?
I have no idea.
It's a Sega version of Tetris.
Really?
Yes, look this up. It's actually quite interesting. The story's quite interesting. And there's all of 8 copies in the world or something equally ludicrous. They are porting this to the Mega Drive Mini.
Okay, now I'm curious. Let me call up my my collection app here. And while I pull that up,
the other thing that they announced, and it's purely a cosmetic thing, but I made a noise that could only be heard by bats. The Japanese Mega Drive Mini will have a cosmetic Mega CD and 32X. They're doing the Tower of Power.
Oh wow! Yeah, I'm looking up the Genesis version of Tetris in Game Eye. It's apparently so rare that they don't even have pricing for it.
Yep.
Which that's an achievement for something that old. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. I was kind of expecting you to heap some scorn on the Avengers game, because I remember you not really being a particular fan of that. The game itself is it's all right. It looks pretty cool.
And then the character designs. What? Cap, what the fuck are you wearing?
Well, see,
the Black Widow looks like she's wearing a really cheap vinyl catsuit, and it's like, why?
all right. Well, I'll give you the I'll give you the Black Widow. That does look kind of weird, but I think with Cap they're giving him actual like tactical body armor, which that shit is bulky as hell. So I can kind of see where that extra body mass came from.
Yeah, but it still looks like he has a tiny, tiny head and a massive body. It's like Rob Liefeld drew him.
All right, so I guess that brings us to the final conference show, and that was Nintendo. And man, can I tell you, gameplay for days. Everything.
Yeah, Nintendo are just like, don't even show up at E3. They just like say, "Here you go," and they win.
Oh man, there was so much good stuff in the Nintendo presentation. I can't let it pass without discussing the Smash Brothers announcements. The hero from Dragon Quest and Banjo-Kazooie coming to Smash. Oh my god!
No one saw that one coming. Everyone went, what? My entire Twitter feed was just covered in people doing a key smash, like Banjo-Kazooie, foams at mouth, falls over.
And I tell you, the fan base has gone absolutely nuts. Both the Japanese and the Western fan bases, because there's been kind of this sort of not so much rivalry, but kind of resentment between the two. That so many of the characters that get announced for Smash are Japanese characters, and now here we have, after King K. Rool, the second wholly Western created character for Smash Brothers in Banjo-Kazooie. So it's kind of healed some rifts. Other big things that were talked about, we got to hear some more about Pokemon Sword and Shield and the Dynamax system and how that's going to work. And then kind of just after the show, they dropped that bombshell that not all Pokemon from the previous generation are going to be compatible with Sword and Shield. They're not going to be transferable into the game. So Skyblaze, what are your thoughts on this? Because I know, like me, you're a big Pokemon fan.
I'm not as big a Pokemon fan as you. My husband is Tony's more of a Pokemon fan than me. I only got into Pokemon relatively recently. I mean, the first one that I played all the way through was X, and I did play some. I think it was Platinum. I played, but I am not like the biggest Pokemon fan in the world, and I'm like, that's okay by me. I'm not that fussed about transferring Pokemon, but I know some people are super into it. So some people are going to be super disappointed that they can't transfer their preferred teams over from previous gen. And yeah, I can understand that, but I suspect at some point they're probably going to fix it.
Yeah, Game Freak has historically been very, because the whole thing with transferring became a thing after they moved from the Game Boy Color to the Game Boy Advance, and they had changed the game mechanically so much that just in terms of the source code, they couldn't port those Pokemon over into Ruby and Sapphire in the Game Boy Advance. So, from that point, they've been very careful about making so that Pokemon could be transferred between games. And I don't see them throwing out the baby in the bathwater with this one, especially with the whole fact that you can transfer all Pokemon to Pokemon Home, which is a separate app that they're releasing alongside Sword and Shield. So I have a theory that either they're going to make Pokemon transferable to the main game with a patch down the line, or that they're going to release a separate Pokemon Stadium-style game just for online play that will be able to use all the different Pokemon. So I'm thinking that's the angle that they're going to go with it.
Possibly. I suspect it's partially a... it's going to take a really, really long time for us to properly design and animate every single Pokemon in the new engine.
Yeah. So we'll have to see more about that. Anything? What about you? Anything else? Anything from the Nintendo Direct really caught your eye or got you excited?
I really want to get Cadence of Hyrule. I'm going to be terrible at it, but it was like Cadence of Hyrule was announced like what feels like a couple of weeks ago, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, it's out today! Surprise!" What?
I have played it, and I can tell you that yes, if you have no sense of rhythm, you're going to want to get one really quick.
I do have a fairly decent sense of rhythm, actually. Well,
then maybe you can teach me how to play this game, because I suck.
I was a dancer for a while. So, I really want to play it because it looks amazing. It sounds so good. When they were doing the gameplay for Nintendo Treehouse and showing off like the Overworld, that remixed version of the Overworld theme and Valley of the Gerudo, and it's like, I need that soundtrack. Give me. And I've not played any of the Animal Crossing games, and I think I really should now.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that looks quite tempting. I might have to try and play that.
Oh yeah, I think you especially would like Animal Crossing. It's very relaxing to play. I'll still pull out New Leaf. Well, I won't do it anymore because I haven't played it in like 6 months. And I don't want Isabel to yell at me for not checking in for so long. But when I played it regularly, I mean, it would be something I'd pull out after a hard day at work, or if I was just in a bad mood, and it would just zen me out. It's a very zen game to play. Little bummed that it's been delayed to 2020, but I get the reasoning why. Nintendo has historically never liked crunch, and so they're very much, we're going to put it out when it's ready and not a moment before. So But it's great that we finally got to see what they're planning to do with it. So, things got me excited. Witcher 3 on the Switch. I'm going to pick that up. I'm finally going to play a Witcher game.
That one really baffles me, okay? Because I know how big that game is, and I know the kind of PlayStation sounds like it's about to take off to the fucking moon when you're playing it. So how in the name of fuck have they managed to squeeze a game that big into a cartridge-based system running on a glorified mobile phone processor?
I think I have an answer, at least for the space issue, and that's there have been rumors for about a year now that Nintendo is developing newer high-capacity game carts for the Switch. So I'm thinking that The Witcher 3 is going to be the first one to roll those out.
That's possible.
Yeah. Now, as far as how it's going to run on the Switch's processor, I mean, we said the same thing about Doom 2016, and as I said in our Switch episode, I can't distinguish the experience from playing Doom on the Switch to playing it on the PC. It's the exact same game. So the answer is witchcraft.
Yeah, I went on a bit of a tear about it when they announced that there was going to be no cut content, and that it was going to be like pretty decent frame rate and resolution. And I went on a tear about it, and my work chat was like, coming in 2022, Witcher 3 on your microwave and toaster. Coming in 2025, Witcher 3 Potato Edition.
Witcher 3, the new Skyrim.
I know, right? It's like, what? I don't know. Falls over.
Let's see. Other things got me excited. No More Heroes 3. Looking forward to that.
You have not mentioned what I thought you were going to mention yet.
Well, give me time. I'm still going. Let's see. Astral Chain. Really looking forward to that. After Nier Automata, I will buy anything that Platinum Games puts out. Let's see. There was one they announced. I can't recall. Actually, I'm thinking that was in I think Elden Ring was actually in the Microsoft conference. But once I thought that was dumb as hell when it started. Then it said it was being developed by From Software, and I was like, oh, you have my attention.
Is that the one that George R. R. Martin's working on?
Yes. Which means, and because it's developed by the same people who did Dark Souls, it means that you are going to die and you're going to cry when you do.
Yeah. You are going to suffer in many, many ways.
Let's see. Then let's see. The Contra collection, that raised my eyebrows. I'm going to pick that up because I love the Contra games, and the fact they've got Contra Hardcore on there, which was a Sega exclusive.
Yes, it was.
I've not played that one, so I'm looking forward to getting to finally play that.
It's pretty good. It has a pretty good soundtrack, actually. And the fact that the Contra games have traditionally had very, very good soundtracks makes me interested, because I'm like, remastered soundtrack, please? Yeah.
Not really enthusiastic about the new Contra game. But that's I can take or leave that. And then there was the bombshell right at the very end. And if you're watching if you're listening to this on YouTube, if you have this open in a YouTube feed, go to that window now. You'll see a picture of the shirt that I was wearing when they made that announcement. I literally did the Superman and tore that shirt in half off of my chest. because I was just so caught up in that announcement. They're making a sequel to Breath of the Wild.
Yep.
They showed us this. Oh, and it's like, and they showed us this trailer. It's Link and Zelda in this like underground cavern with what looks like the desiccated corpse of Ganondorf, or it might even be the remains of Demise from Skyward Sword. It's like we know absolutely nothing about what's going on with this. At the very end, we see what looks like Hyrule Castle getting ready to rise out of the ground. I don't know what they're going to do with this, but I have not been that hyped for a game in like ever. And like I said, I literally just like I did the Superman, just tore my shirt in half and just screamed. My fucking neighbors. When they were taking the dog out for a walk later that day, they knocked on the door and was like, we heard some weird noise coming from here earlier today. Are you all right? And I was like, I'm fine, just playing video games. But I am stoked about Breath of the Wild 2. That was the game maker for me for E3. That was my best in show. So
yeah, all I can say is 2020 is going to be an expensive fucking year.
2019 is going to be an expensive year. Let me show you my pre-order list sometime. I'm going to be broke from September all the way through to New Year's. Especially with all the fucking steelbooks they're putting out. God.
Including the one that you can't seem to get hold of.
I think I might have a hookup in Ireland.
Ah.
I think I might have because and while we're on Zelda, Link's Awakening, we got to see some more of that.
That looks so good. Oh, did you see the pictures of the tiny little cute dioramas they had?
You're in the are you talking about in the presentation itself, or do they have something actually on the show floor?
They had something on the show floor, like little Link's Awakening dioramas with a little chain chomp on plastic grass. It was really cute.
Oh no, I didn't see those. I'll have to look those up. But yeah, Link's Awakening. That's what I'm really looking forward to, because Link's Awakening was actually the I ever beat way back on the Game Boy. So I've already got that on pre-order, the base game, and I'm trying to find like Skyblaze mentioned, I'm trying to find a hookup for the European limited edition because it comes with a steelbook. And while we're on the subject of pre-orders, I'm gonna have fucking 6 copies of the new Pokemon game when it finally comes out, because I pre-ordered the games individually. Then they announced that double pack, so I was like, well, I got to get that because that's going to be rare as shit. And then not 3 days later, my friend Punky on Facebook sends me this thing about how Europe is getting a steelbook double pack of Sword and Shield. So I'm like, fuck, I got to get that too. So
I imagine we'll get the double pack and then have to fight over the Switch.
Tony just needs to buy his own damn Switch.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
All right. But, so yeah, Breath of the Wild was my best in show for E3 this year. What was yours?
I honestly don't know. I was more impressed by Cyberpunk 2077 than I thought I would be. But I also was... I completely fell in... I wasn't expecting to completely fall in love with Cadence of Hyrule, but as soon as I saw the gameplay, I was like, yep. Need that. So, yeah, those two.
Okay, all right. And then what was your biggest disappointment this year?
Bethesda. Just everything about them. Just,
yeah.
They like ran the world for a while, and then they've just pissed it all away, and I couldn't be more disappointed in them.
Yeah, I think my big disappointment this year, I'm actually going to say the Ubisoft conference, just because of how like that was a drug trip. That's all I can really say about Ubisoft. It was half drug trip, half join the army propaganda with all the Rainbow Six and Tom Clancy shit. Like, I want to see if I can't get like a financial report on how much of a stake in Ubisoft the Tom Clancy estate owns, because like, goddamn, the man's been dead 16 years, but they're fucking sucking him off like nothing else. It's crazy. So, yeah, so that is our E3 blowout this year. Sound off in the comments. What did you enjoy? What did you want to see? What are you disappointed you didn't see? What are you really looking forward to? So, yeah, that is our show this week. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. As always, I'm Dr. Gonzo.
I'm Skyblaze.
All right, we'll see you next week. Taka, play us out.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn. Ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn. Tell people to stay off the lawn. Compare it to your neighbor's lawn. And complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Technology Truths, brought to you by Geico.
Technology Truths.
Truth. Teenagers can communicate entirely in emojis.
How was the birthday party? Pizza slice, kitten, soccer ball, pineapple?
Truth. It's so easy to switch and save on car insurance at geico.com.
What are you talking about? Paperclip, shoulder shrug, high five, wizard hat? What?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.